Welcome to today's video. Today we look at the 10 poorest countries in Europe according to GDP per capita. These are mainly post-communist countries that suffered from the collapse of the USSR or civil wars after the end of communism. So let's go to 10th place. Number 10, Bulgaria. Bulgaria is ranked 10th in the list of Europe's poorest countries with a per capita GDP of 11,000. When Bulgaria lost its Soviet primary market in the 1990s, it attempted to transform itself into a free market democratic economy, which caused a further dent in Bulgaria's economy. Bulgaria was hit hard again in the 2008 global financial crisis. More than 41% of its population are at the risk of falling into poverty according to IMF research. Number 9. Serbia. Serbia is one of the poorest European countries at 9th place with a per capita GDP of $8,000. Serbia had good economic growth for 8 years at the beginning of the 2000s. Serbia's economy registered negative growth in 2009 because of the global financial crisis, which led the country's external debt to rise 63% of its GDP. Serbia is prone to natural disasters like floods and earthquakes, which impact the country's economic progress. At number 8, we have Montenegro. Montenegro's economy, which is based on energy sectors, with a GDP per capita of $8,000, the rapid expansion of cities leading to deforestation is eroding the country's natural resources and making it more weak. Gender and age discrimination are high and cause different incomes, especially for women. Almost 50,000 of Montenegro's population is made up of displaced persons and refugees. The poverty rate in Montenegro is approximately 6 times more than the national average rate of 8.6%. At number 7, we have Belarus. Belarus, like the rest of Soviet republics, faced deep economic troubles after the collapse of the Soviet Union, which made it 7th poorest country in Europe. Before 1990, Belarus had the highest living standard and its economy was doing phenomenally well. Belarus was facing an economic crisis till 1996, after which it started to recover. The GDP per capita income of Belarus is $6,000. Number 6. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina is ranked 6th in the list of the poorest countries in Europe with a per capita GDP of $6,000. The single biggest factor for the cause of the poverty in Bosnia is the legacy of war. Bosnia was a well-doing economy before the conflict started between Bosnia and Herzegovina in 1992, which is also known as the Bosnian War. It took 2 decades for the country to return back to the normal. During the war, many men died in a battle, which caused 1/4 of Bosnian households to be headed by women. There is wage disparity, where women were paid less than men. Number 5. North Macedonia. North Macedonia, which gained independence in 1991, is ranked 5th in the list of the poorest countries in Europe. North Macedonia, which has its GDP per capita of $6,000, is undergoing a drastic change in its economy recently. Trade contributed to more than 90% of the country's GDP. In spite of reforms implemented successfully by the North Macedonia government, there is a high unemployment rate of 16.6%. At one point of time, North Macedonia had the highest unemployment rate of 38.7%. Number 4. Albania. Albania, also called the Republic of Albania, has a GDP per capita of $5,000. Albania was in the transition process from a socialist economy to free market economy in the 1990s. Albania is rich in natural resources like oil, gas, iron, coal, and limestone, which is helping in reviving Albania's economy. Albania, which is spread across the area of 28,000 kilometers square, is now a developing country dominated by the service sector and manufacturing industry. Number 3. Kosovo. Kosovo, officially referred to as the Republic of Kosovo, is partially recognized state with a per capita GDP of $5,000. Kosovo ranks third in the list of Europe's poorest country, when 1/3 of the country's population falls below poverty. 500,000 lives in poverty, earning less than 500 euros in a month. Kosovo has a very high unemployment rate of more than 30% as of 2020, which is expected to come down in coming years, as it's now a developing country witnessing economic growth in the recent past. Number 2. Ukraine. Ukraine is the second in the list of Europe's poorest countries with a GDP per capita of $3,000. However, Ukraine has the third largest army in the European zone, after France and Russia. Ukraine, which was earlier part of the USSR, was the second largest economy, but split it into post-collapse of the USSR. Ukrainians have to deal with serious issues like government corruption, Russian aggression, inflation, which pushed many into poverty. Number 1. Moldova. Moldova, officially called the Republic of Moldova, is the poorest country in Europe, with its GDP per capita of just $3,000. Moldova shares its border with Romania and Ukraine. The name Moldova has been derived from the river Moldova. Moldova, which was an earlier part of the USSR, faced a rapid decline in the economy, and its citizens had to go through many financial hardship post the downfall of the Soviet Union in 1991. There are several factors that contributed to decline in industrial and agriculture output, like errors in social policy, food insecurity, among others. The service sector picked up growth later, and it now contributes more than 60% of the nation's GDP, which helped it in decreasing the percentage of citizens living below the poverty line in the last 2 decades.